Island Radio Hall of Fame class of 2017 welcomes Roger Laliberte.
Well, I haven't been this nervous since the day I got married. First of all, I want to thank the Rhode Island Radio Hall of Fame. This is quite an honor. Quite an honor when you look at people like Maury Lowe, for instance. And it's also a very humbling experience. But I accept this and will remember this for the rest of my life. People are probably saying, how did you survive 60 years of doing French? And I guess you need a determined host, and that was me. We also have a very loyal French audience, reaching even into Canada, and of course, loyal sponsors. Excuse me, no cough switch. The loyal sponsors that have kept us on the air, because there are bills to pay, obviously, and they've done that for us, many of whom have been with us for years. They say, blessed are the brief, so I will be brief. But I would like to recognize some people who are making this evening even more special. And certainly that is the person of Mr. Frank Rhode, representing the Canadian Consulate General in Boston. We thank you for being here. And also recognize a good friend, goes back, and he was very active when we had our French soirees in Woonsocket, organized by Noel Pinsence, who's here this evening. That's Bishop Jellineau. Bishop Jellineau even serenaded us at these soirees with his cornet, was it? Is that what? Saxophone? I don't know the difference. But don't tell him, but he wasn't very good. But the audience loved him. And if you don't mind, Bishop, I have one little story that I'd like to tell the audience here this evening. I'm sure they're not aware. As you know, Bishop Jellineau came to us from another state, and after being here a while, wondered whether people would recognize him. So he went to l'Hospice Saint-Antoine up in Woonsocket, North Smithfield area, and he wanted to test and see if people recognized him. So he spots an elderly lady in a wheelchair, went over and said, "Excuse me, but do you know who I am?" And she looked up at him and said, "No, but if you go to the desk, the nurse can tell you." Also like to recognize my partners from WNRI, Roger and Dick Bouchard, Dave St. Ange, and associates as well, Jeff Gamache, our program director, who's here this evening, and my Sunday morning Goomba, Polka Paul, who's on just before we do our show at 12. Also, some other people who are making this evening so special, and those are the crew that's here, and I mean a crew, from the Coventry Credit Union. Just stand up if you would, please. Including our CEO, Mr. David Root. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize someone who's been very special to me, and that's my wife, Claudette. And it's going to be 59 years this year, my friends, that she's put up with me. And she's on the show with me as well, and I think she deserves certainly a good portion of this award, because if I've been there 60 years, she's been there 59. So we'll put your name on this as well. The remainder of the family, my daughter Nicole is here with her friend Dan, and my daughter Giselle, her husband Corey, and some friends that we have at our table as well, lifelong from the Manville area. And the reason I mention that is that some 14 years ago, I guess it was, I had a health issue and could not do the show on Sunday, and the crew came to my rescue. Mom went up and was used to doing the announcing, and she did the announcing. Daughter Nicole was manning the telephone calls, and Giselle, who'd had some experience at WCVY, which was a high school radio station at the time, FM, was at the controls. And together they managed to save the day for Dad at WNRI, with the help, of course, of Dave St. Ange and others from the radio station who were there to help them along. So many, many thanks to them. I think they are certainly as deserving as I am of this award. I'm also told by a reporter for the newspaper who interviewed me day before yesterday, I believe it was, that he thinks we may be the longest continuous running foreign language program in the country. And just a couple of words in French, if I may, and that's merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.